This is the program that shows you that you don't need to be an expert to be a great artist.
Rui Torres is dead. Is it true that he died of sadness? We're going to talk about that in this ESO report and so many other things. At some point, we've all seen a broadcast or part of Art Attack. This craft television program was aimed at children and started in England. It aired from 1990 to 2007 and in the original version was hosted by Neil Buchanan.
Are you like me? Can't you ever find a place to put the wet brushes when you paint? There it is, what you need. But
for the Latin American audience, their emblematic host was Rui Torres. Rui had iconic phrases like, "Remember that the important thing is that you take the test." And his way of conveying knowledge was incomparable to anyone else's. It has even been said that he was a great inspiration for the art teachers in schools. From the moment he said charge, most of the boys and girls followed him, ready to spring into action. Others simply stayed looking at him as if hypnotized. Rui accomplished this whenever he presented his creations. Captivating the little ones, not an easy task at all. However, there was a day when the kids started watching the show and he didn't appear. Not only that, someone else took his place. Yes, the substitute had the characteristic red coat, but it wasn't the same anymore. Over time, the audience got used to this new presenter. Unfortunately, the show's followers lost part of their childhood when they heard the worst news. A news that was seared into them, a date they could no longer forget, February 24th, 2008. The day Rui Torres died. Before we begin, I would like you to tell me any anecdotes you have about Rui Torres. Did you watch Art Attack, or maybe you watched it with your children or with your grandchildren or nephews? I want to read your anecdotes. I want to know if you did anything from Art Attack, if you ever brought any of those crafts to life. If Rui taught you something, I want to know what he taught you. And I also want you to tell me, who was the best host of Art Attack for you? I want to read all your comments below, and I also invite you to leave your like, of course. Let's see if we can break the barrier of 5,000 likes in 24 hours on this video, so leave your like right now. Now let's get started. Surprisingly, while the cycle was a success, Torres decided to step away from television and was replaced by the Spaniard Jordi Cruz. During those years, he returned to his native Mexico to continue his engineering studies and to be close to his burgeoning family. He, his wife, and young daughter dedicated themselves to traveling and relishing the fruits of their past labor. He didn't know that, thanks to his intensity in studies and the practicality of his hands, he was going to be so well known in the television environment. He was also not prepared for the misfortune that would knock on his door. In the year 2006, his 2-year-old daughter at that time died from a respiratory infection. Rui Torres couldn't cope with it and fell into a deep depression. The months passed and it seemed that he had distanced himself from everyone to heal his wounds. Or at least that's what his loved ones believed, until a phone call left them stunned. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. To know what that call said, it's necessary that we start from the beginning. This great presenter, known as Rui Torres, was born under the name of Rutilio Torres Mantecon on December 30th, 1976 in Mexico City. His family, of Spanish and Albanian descent, always stood out for promoting study in their home. Maricruz Torres Mantecon, Rutilio's older sister, had a flawless career. She was a teacher in administration, graduated in psychology, and became the director of the Professional Development Center at Instituto Tecnológico Autónomo de México. Rui Torres grew up surrounded by books from his parents and sister, which were scattered throughout his house from a very young age. In that environment, he also wanted to be someone with a promising career, and from a very young age he stood out for his outstanding grades. His performance in school surprised teachers and administrators to such an extent that he graduated with honors. Sometime later, he pursued his secondary studies at Green Hills College, and when the time came to enter university, Torres continued to demonstrate his ability, perseverance, and discipline. There wasn't a subject that he found difficult, and he was always willing to help his classmates. In the year 2001, he was one of the applicants who achieved the best results in the admission exam to the National Autonomous University of Mexico, the same institution where his sister, Maricruz Torres Mantecone, graduated. They were both very close. Rui Torres studied telematics engineering. For those who don't know, telematics is a field of science where computer science and communication technology are combined for the transmission and reception of data. But if that seems like a lot, he continued studying psychology. Keeping with tradition, Rui Torres was selected from among 53,000 applicants to study in the open mode. Thanks to his score that year, with 109 correct answers, a high figure that made him the pride of his hometown. Torres assured that this degree would allow him to combine his academic responsibilities with an acting career. Yes, he had, parallel to his formal and analytical education, an evident artistic vein. Inside, he carried a special interest in theater and cinema, which is why he decided to take several courses on the subject. Regarding his predictions, they were not wrong. Thanks to his training, he managed to forge an innovative opportunity within the field he liked. He was simply and plainly destined for success. The young Torres' career began when Disney bought the rights to produce the Art Attack program in several languages in the year 2000. After an extensive review of resumes and profiles, the program's producers who were passing through Mexico saw something that caught their attention. Maintenance was being done on the murals at the Central Library of the National Autonomous University of Mexico. The work was spectacular. When asked who had been in charge of the restoration, they named several people, but highlighted a guy named Rutilio Torres Mantecon. They inquired a little more and found that he had graduated with honorary medals from the Mexican University, National Autonomous University of Mexico. In addition, they soon discovered that the boy's talent had allowed him to be in a select group of people in charge of preserving the work of Frida Kahlo's husband, the Mexican Diego Rivera, a famous muralist. The project managers realized that they had found someone with exceptional skills, but it remained to be determined whether he would be able to teach effectively in front of a camera. That's when they met with Rui to assess his teaching ability, and were pleasantly surprised by his demeanor. During the conversation, Torres revealed to them that he had a broad knowledge and interest in understanding how people learn, especially children. Everything was said and done, the producers didn't hesitate any longer and shook hands to move forward with the Disney project. Rui Torres took on the role of host in the Spanish version of the popular children's program Art Attack. He had to move to London to be closer to the recording studios of the program. There he recorded 2 seasons during the years 2000 and 2002. All the episodes in which he participated had an unprecedented reception. In a time when the internet was not as present in our lives as it is now, the Art Attack program became a source of inspiration for many people who wanted to explore their creativity and develop their ability to create things with their own hands. There weren't as many online tutorials showing how to build furniture or do crafts, so Art Attack became a real treasure for art lovers. The main goal of the program was to awaken the more playful side of viewers, especially children, and to promote the use of recyclable materials to create the most varied objects. Rui Torres captured attention with his clear way of speaking. From the start of the program, he generated interest in the children who were on the other side of the television.
This is undoubtedly a very effective way to draw clouds. Now I'll show you a trick to make them look much better and more realistic. With a piece of chalk, we're going to add some light reflections on the top part. When using it, lay it on its side. We'll also use the tip to make the reflections look great.
It can be said that Art Attack marked the lives of several young people. More than one will remember the iconic phrase, "You don't need to be an expert to be a great artist." For the year 2003, after recording the episodes in the United Kingdom, Torres decided to return to Mexico to continue his university studies and dedicate more time to his family. The Spaniard Jordi Cruz was his replacement on the show and was dubbed into neutral Spanish to be able to join the Latin American market. The young Torres continued with his studies and was named Best Student of the Autonomous Technological Institute of Mexico and managed to get a scholarship. Baliers for his grades. In one of the few interviews he gave, Rui said that the future of public university was in humanism. Indeed, he had and felt a strong commitment to everything that his academic training allowed him. He fought for democratizing knowledge and advocated instilling in youth the desire for self-training. After his departure from Art Attack, Rui Torres chose to remain anonymous and little was known about his life. Of course, those who had known him from television dreamed of seeing him again someday. Unfortunately, they didn't know that this was going to be impossible. From 2004 to 2008, little was known about the Mexican host's private life. But some acquaintances revealed that after his return to Mexico, Rui decided to start a family with a girl named Elena, and together they had a little girl. Then, and sadly, his presence in the media resurfaced with news that surprised everyone. On social media and some internet outlets, it was said that Rui Torres had died, but everything remained as unconfirmed rumors. However, the former host of Art Attack was nowhere to be found. And that's how our story comes back to the beginning. Only in August of 2008, thanks to the magazine Conexión, produced by Instituto Tecnológico Autónomo de México, some details of his death were revealed. In the obituary section, they published the following image. The Instituto Tecnológico Autónomo de México community offers its deepest condolences to the Torres Mantecón family for the passing of Rutilio, brother of Maricruz Torres, which occurred on the past 24th of February. He will always be fondly remembered by his loved ones. However, many media outlets did not consider the news highly relevant. Very few people had noticed that the smiling boy in the photo was, in addition to being an engineer, Disney's star driver. Only with the passing of the months did the notes about this fact emerge. The reasons for the death of the renowned artist were never clear, nor were they explained by professionals or family members, which gave rise to various theories about his demise. Most of these assumptions have in common a fact that almost undoubtedly destroyed poor Rui Torres. According to sources close to the driver, in 2006 he suffered the loss of his 2-year-old daughter. The cause of this death at such an early age was pneumonia, or a respiratory infection that the little girl contracted on a family trip to Zacatecas. Around that time, it was known that Torres fell into a deep depression. Some claim that this state of sadness was what triggered his death. Others believe that he ended up falling into the realm of addictions in an attempt to ward off the ghosts that haunted him. However, as the months went by, another theory emerged, one that claimed it was all due to a big mistake, and Rui Torres in fact was still in the world of the living. In the year 2017, through digital news programs, it was questioned whether Rui Torres had truly passed away. The video talked about the existence of a Facebook profile created in the year 2016 by a certain Rutilio Torres Mantecón, that is the same name of the young host, supposedly deceased. Up to that point, it wouldn't be anything strange, as there are accounts of many celebrities that we all know clearly do not belong to them. That profile shows a series of supposed current images that would have been uploaded by the host in 2017. In those photos, you could see Rui with a few extra pounds compared to the last remembered appearances, and he is found with those who appear to be his relatives. Even some users are mentioned who would have talked with the very driver through the social network. Something totally strange was that after this commotion, the obituary from Instituto Tecnológico Autónomo de México magazine was deleted. Why had they done it? There were people who decided to reach out to ask what had happened, and they got in touch with the person in charge of managing the institute's networks. That employee assured that indeed that publication belonged to the official magazine, but when asked about its removal, they said nothing. The alleged Rui Torres profile has been deactivated. In February 2021, Jordi Cruz, the other host of Art Attack from Spain, was interviewed. Joining Ricardo Moya on the sense of beer, he discussed numerous topics. And without being asked, he commented that Rui Torres was dead. Obviously, but did you get to know
the other art maniacs like you? Yes, to the French, the German, the Italian Giovanni, then to Rui, who passed away, the Mexican, then to the Japanese as well, who also came, almost all of them.
In 2022, the program returned as Art Attack Challenge Mode. While it has Brazilian and Mexican versions, the focus remains the same. The programs are hosted by influencers such as Anthrax, a Mexican YouTuber, Franco Ceres, an Argentine TikToker, Liz Rangel, a plastic artist and Mexican YouTuber. But the guests change constantly. Similarly, we all know that no matter how much they try to renew Art Attack, there will only be one that truly invites us to get down to work. With Rui Torres' death confirmed, we can only remember him. And he will learn again by watching the episodes where he demonstrated his charisma and ability. And remember, you don't need to be an expert to be a great artist. That's it for today's video. Hope you found it interesting. You've been requesting the story of Rui Torres extensively, essentially since the channel's inception. So finally, we were able to tell it on this occasion. If you liked it, I ask for your like. Let's see if we can surpass the barrier of 6,000 likes on this video in 24 hours, so help me by leaving your like right now. Please suggest ideas for future videos on this channel. I'm going to leave a couple of suggestions here, a couple of videos going around for you to continue the marathon. This is the day that. With nothing left to add, I bid you farewell. I'm Magnum Mephisto, and we'll certainly meet again. Goodbye.